Well, good afternoon. Welcome to this week's weight loss vlog. Let me just check my mic's working. It is all good. I have recorded podcasts and videos in the past where I'm half an hour in and I've realised that my mic's not turned on. But yes, it is working today. It is currently 2:45 on Monday, the 29th of January. And in this week's weight loss vlog, I'm going to talk about obviously last week. So the 22nd of January to the 28th of January. As always, this sort of weekly weight loss vlog is for my own accountability, talking about how my own journey's going. But again, as I said last week in the first one, I hope you might get a bit of inspiration or motivation or just, might learn a couple of things to help you on your own weight loss journey. Last week was good. If I'm being honest with you, it was a pretty decent week. Do you know what? It is literally at the moment Groundhog Day for me. It really is. January's like that. And I always say, there are better and worse times to lose weight. And for me, January, February, March is just a better time to lose weight. And we have to accept that. There's always going to be periods throughout the year where it's easier to lose weight, periods throughout the year where it's harder to lose weight. Now, when it's harder, it doesn't mean you can't lose weight, but you might need to adjust your goal or for that period of time, or you might just need to change your mindset a little bit and just concentrate on maybe just maintaining your weight for a few weeks or, having smaller losses for a few weeks. But one thing, I don't care who you are, January, February, and March are always 3 very good months for weight loss. No distractions. No distractions. That's why it's good for me, if I'm being honest with you. I don't want to do anything. We've just come out of we all have, not just me, quite an indulgent period. Not just Christmas week. December's quite indulgent in a way. Got work to do, got meetups with friends. So after having a month of being quite social, I quite like being a hermit. I don't mind admitting that. And we've not been out for meals. We've not got friends asking us to go out for meals. Everyone's a bit skint at the moment. The weather's rubbish. You don't want to go outside. And that in turn can be really good for weight loss because, like I say, no distractions. It's just focusing on that one goal. So January, February, March are always really good months for me, but it is Groundhog Day. Nothing really changes. Same old, same old. Eat, sleep, repeat. That's kind of, the way it is. But while it's like that, I'm just sat here or, trying to make the most of this journey and making inroads into 2024, laying a good foundation for 2024. I did a weight loss coaching live, which I do within my online community. I do 2 weight loss coaching lives every week. And I did one a couple of weeks ago about laying the foundations for a good weight loss journey. If you lay the foundations or the foundations are good for anything, it's going to give you a solid structure. And I looked at laying foundations for a day, for a week, for a month, and for a year. And, if you get off to a good start, January, February, March, it does. It lays those foundations for you hopefully having a good year. So that's what I'm doing. And we're at the end of January. January's pretty much ticked off in 2 days. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is it was my check-in on Friday. So I do a check-in very similar to my clients, if I'm being honest with you. I get my clients to check in every 2 weeks. And I do the same thing. So I have half my clients check in 1 week and then the other half check in the following week. And then it just kind of runs like that. And I check in with my first half clients, if that kind of makes sense. So the first check-in of 2024 for my clients was the 12th of January. So half my clients checked in on the 12th of January. The next half checked in, or the second half, should I say, on the 19th of January, and then so on and so forth. So we just had the 26th of January, which was second check-in of the year for half my clients. It doesn't actually quite run as a half split. But anyway, I've checked in with the sort of first half, the first group, as it will. So I gained 8.8 pounds over Christmas, which is kind of about standard for me. I normally gain about 10 pounds over Christmas. Do I gain 10 pounds of body fat? Nope. Wrapped up in that is some water retention because of what we're eating, bit of dehydration because of what we're drinking. Well, certainly for me, because I drink alcohol. I'm not as good with my water. I don't move as much over Christmas. So, yeah, gained 8.8 pounds in weight, not 8.8 pounds in body fat over Christmas. And I kind of have a little rule of thumb. There's no science behind this. This is just from my own experience of weighing myself after a period of overindulgence, like a week's holiday or Christmas, and then how quickly I lose that weight. And normally it kind of runs about 60-70% water retention, and then the rest is body fat. So I reckon over Christmas, I gained 5, maybe 6 pounds of water retention. And that leaves 3 to 4 pounds of body fat gain. And from my results I've had so far in January, yeah, that hits perfectly. Why? First check-in, the 12th of January, 11 days after getting back at it after Christmas. I sort of started again New Year's Day. I had a reasonably calorific New Year's Day, nothing crazy, but 4,100 calories. But I still tracked and I got everything in my app. And then I officially started on the 2nd of January, the Tuesday. So first check-in was 11 days after that. And I dropped 7.6 pounds. Again, chunk of water retention, chunk of body fat in there. More water retention than body fat. And then this check-in that I've just done on Friday, I have lost a further 4.2 pounds, which I would say is pretty much all body fat. I think I got rid of all my water retention the first couple of weeks because I was bang at it. So I've lost 4 pounds of body fat in 2 weeks, which I'm really chuffed with. So a 12-pound loss total in January so far. And do you know what? Yeah, I'm really chuffed with that. I actually have a slightly bigger calorie deficit than I give my clients. Why? Because I'm a big guy and I move a lot, right? I do. You know, I don't mean I move stupid amounts, and I don't really move any more than most people should be able to move. But I average 10 to 11,000 steps a day, and I'm very, very consistent with that. And I go to the gym 5 times a week. Now, the gym, you know, exercise, it doesn't have a massive direct effect on weight loss, because the only direct effect of exercise on weight loss is we burn some calories. But, you know, I do go to the gym quite a bit. I do train quite a lot. So I do have a reasonable calorie burn from the gym. Nothing crazy. Certainly not as much as doing my 10, 11,000 steps a day on average, but it's not bad. So I have a decent calorie burn overall, about 24,000 calories a week. And I've been eating the last 3 weeks just under 19,000. So I've certainly been in a calorie deficit to lose 1.5 pounds of body fat a week. There's 3,500 calories in a pound of body fat. So for every 3,500 calories under our calorie burn, whether that's daily, weekly, monthly, whatever, that's going to equal 1 pound of body fat. So I've done 4 pounds in the last 2 weeks, which I'm saying is pretty much all body fat. So that means I have been in a 14,000 calorie deficit in 2 weeks. And looking at my tracking app, looking at my movement, my overall calorie burn, I'd say that's just about spot on. I would expect that to slow down a little bit now going forward. Why? Because we're coming out of January into February. Again, no distractions in January. We have said, you know, or we made a thing, me and Rachel, my wife, right, we're not going to go out for food. We're going to have a takeaway once a week, but we're not going to go out for food. We're going to, you know, be really on it in January, which we've done. Also in January, I have done dry January. I know we've got 2 days to go, but I have, you know, I certainly won't be drinking any alcohol today, tomorrow or Wednesday. So I've certainly ticked dry January off. And then going into February, we're going to have a little bit more freedom. We probably will go out for a meal or two with some friends, because we've not really seen some friends since Christmas. So just have a catch up. Am I going to drink alcohol though? No, I'm not. I'm not actually. I've done dry Jan and I'm going to do dry Feb. Now, I'm not putting any major pressure on myself to do dry February, but we've got nothing major on socially. So yeah, we might go out for the odd meal, but we've got no birthdays or parties or anything like that. No weekends away booked or anything like that. So yeah, I can't see any reason why I'm not going to do dry feb. I'm not putting, like I say, too much pressure on myself. If we do end up going out for a meal and I have a pint or two, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. But certainly at the moment, I'm not really interested. I'll talk about alcohol actually in a little bit about why. I just want to touch on actually. I've sort of already talked about my check-ins, checking in every 2 weeks, and that's what my clients do. Why do I get my clients to check in every 2 weeks? Because some of you guys, you might be weighing yourself every day or weekly. So why do I choose every 2 weeks? I've just learned throughout my weight loss journey that the further you go, gaps in between weighing, the bigger the chance of you getting a positive result on the scales. What you class as a positive result, what I class as a positive result, might be a little bit different. To be honest with you, a positive result to me is a maintain or a loss. Right? A lot of clients are like, oh, I've maintained this week. And I get a lot of people on social media coming, oh, I've maintained. I don't know why we see it as such a negative thing. At some point in time, every one of you guys watching this will have been happy with your weight. It might have been when you were 10, it might have been when you were 20, it might have been when you were, it doesn't matter. But at some point in time, you will have been a weight that you were happy with. And if you ate your calorie maintenance, if you ate the same amount of calories as you burn from now until today, from that point to today, you wouldn't have a weight issue. So the fact that, now I know the journey is a weight loss journey and the goal is weight loss, but every now and then, if you jump on the scales and you see a maintain, it means you have been in some control of your calories. And it doesn't mean you've not lost body fat, because remember, certain things can counterbalance body fat. I've already talked about, gaining water retention. If in 2 weeks you're in a 3,500 calorie deficit a week, 7,000 over 2 weeks, and you drop 2 pounds of body fat from that, but for whatever reason you gain 2 pounds of body fat, might just be gain 2 pounds of body fat, sorry, gain 2 pounds of water retention, which might be because you're a bit stressed, it might be a medication you've gone on to, it might be because you've had a big meal out before you jump on the scales, because it was, your dad's birthday, your auntie's birthday, or your kids' birthdays, or your birthday, whatever, you've just been out for a nice meal. Yeah, that will counterbalance the scales. Remember, the scales weigh your weight, they don't weigh your fat. And the scales move in four things. Yeah, the loss and gain of water weight, which is basically drinking water. You drink a glass of water while it sits in your system, it's going to weigh something. Food weight. Food weight is when you eat something, until it's digested and come out the other end, it'll weigh something within your body. Water retention is when the body purposefully holds water for whatever reason. Again, that can be stress, it can be a medication, it can be dehydration. That's probably the most common one. If you're female, it can be time of the month. And the loss and gain of body fat as well. And all those things are going to make the scales fluctuate. And you need to understand that, and this is why if you weigh every day, there are too many things that can counterbalance fat loss. Weight loss isn't linear, but if it was, and you're in a calorie deficit to lose 1 pound a week of body fat, if you weighed every day and you saw an exact loss, all you would see on the scales of body fat is a 0.14. 1 pound divided by 7 is 0.14 of a pound. So that's it. So if you get on the scales and you see the scales increase by a pound, right, and you don't gain weight that quick, right? Or you get on the scales the next day and you see it go down by 2 pounds, it is not the loss and gain of body fat. It is the loss and gain, or the difference between what you eat and drink that goes in your mouth and what you, number one and number two, out when you go to the toilet. That's it. So the further apart we go, the bigger the chance, the less the chance of these fluctuations making a difference to the scales. And because you've lost hopefully a decent amount of body fat, you should get, like I say, a positive result. First 9-10 months of my weight loss journey, I didn't weigh myself. I couldn't. There wasn't a scales to weigh me. I got my start weight from a cow scales on a farm, and I weighed 234 kilograms when I started my weight loss journey, and the doctor's scales went up to 200. So I needed to lose 34 kilos before I could even, get my weight. Now, I started my weight loss journey 10 years ago. Now I've got 40 stone scales, and I've got the main scales I use, Renfro, weigh up to 28 stone, but I've also got some Salter scales that weigh up to 40 stone. I didn't have access to things like that when I started my weight loss journey. Maybe I could have got them, but I don't feel that, things like Amazon were as prevalent then to go and have a route around for big scales. So I just didn't weigh myself. And, the first time I weighed myself was 9, 10 months into my weight loss journey, and I lost £100. And it's like, what? And that's because I went 10 months without weighing. And I couldn't believe it when I knew I'd lost weight because I was wearing smaller clothes and compliments I was getting from people, or, comments and stuff like that. But yeah, I lost £100. So the further you go with weight, and was I consistent in that time? Yes, but was I perfect? Absolutely not. And I feel if I'd weighed myself every day or been able to weigh myself every day throughout my weight loss journey, I didn't understand how scales work then. I didn't have a flipping clue. I feel it would definitely have affected my mindset. And throughout my weight loss journey, I did start weighing myself every day in 2016. I have no idea why. I was going for skin removal surgery in 2016. So I had skin removal done on my chest, and the doctors basically said, the surgeon said, the leaner you are, right, the more skin we're going to be able to remove. So I really got my head into the game in 2016 in terms of weight loss. And I had my operation in June 2016. We went on holiday in February 2016. So when I got back from holiday, this is when I first started tracking calories and using MyFitnessPal. So, I'd say March, April, May, coming up to my operation, I was weighing myself every day. It just created an eating disorder. Now, I obviously was conquering an eating disorder from being 37 stone. And then I decided to create another one by weighing every day. So days I weighed and I saw the scales go up, I was very restrictive on what I was eating. Days where I weighed myself and the scales came down, I gave myself a little bit more freedom. And because the scales fluctuate all the time, if I went 2 days in a row where I was seeing gains, and it can happen, I was starving myself for a couple of days. Right? And then I'd get, third day or fourth day, I'd see a drop. I'm like, right, I can eat again properly. And then because I was eating again properly, that again created some food weight or water weight. And then when I got on the next day, bang, they've gone up again. Then I'm starving myself. I did this for 3 months. And I kind of knew what I was doing in terms of, it wasn't healthy, but I couldn't stop myself doing it. And after 3 months, I was just like, no, right, this is ridiculous now. And I wrote down my weight every single day. So I literally had like 90 measurements. And do you know what the most important thing was? The first one and the last one, because I was 20 pounds lighter. So I'd seen these fluctuations all the time. I'd starved myself some days, overeaten other days, was massively affecting my mental health. And I literally was like, you need to stop this. And I did. I cut it out and I started weighing monthly then. And it just created such a better relationship with food, not starving myself, not doing it, better eating patterns. And it was, if you get mentally affected by the scales to the point where you kind of really under eating on a day, that is an eating disorder, or it's disordered eating, right? Whenever you say eating disorder, people automatically go anorexia or bulimia, or, but, disordered eating is when you're eating not in a natural format, or, you're not, not normally eating the way people should be eating. Yeah. So from that, and then I was like, why am I doing that? And this is stuff I've learned so I can coach you guys to not do it. And it was that you're emotionally attached to the scales, Neil. You're letting that emotional attachment, because you're feeling sad when the scales go up, you're letting that, control your eating. Likewise, when you're feeling happy because the scales have gone down, again, you're letting that control. And it shouldn't be like that. You should have a nice set calorie structure, a nice set eating pattern, and just get on the scales at regular intervals. And weighing every 2 weeks is a regular interval. And like I say, so I moved to monthly, and I was, again, very consistent with my journey. And every time I got on the scales each month, I lost weight. Sometimes it was £2, £3. Sometimes I got on and I lost £5 or £6. But I was pretty much always getting a positive result. So I just recommend, until you create a healthy relationship with the scales, you learn how the scales work. If you want me to go into being a bit more in depth about the scales, podcast, I think it's number 9 of my Real Lost Boss podcast. is titled Turn the Sad Step into the Happy Step. And that's a full podcast dedicated to how the scales work. So maybe go give that a look. If you are struggling yourself, go give that a listen. But yeah, so I get my clients to weigh every couple of weeks. And it's just, if they're being consistent, they will get a positive result. Like I say, some weeks they'll lose half a pound. Other weeks they'll lose 4 pounds. But, on average, we try and lose a pound a week. And the beauty of it is, like I say, if you're being consistent, you're going to see a positive result more often than not. When you work with a coach, whatever that result is, whatever result my clients get, I'll always try and break it down and justify it to them, even if it's a great result. What is the negative of only weighing every 2 weeks? If I'm being honest with you, the only negative I can think of is you're putting a lot of pressure on one result, if that makes sense. So, you're just focusing on this one single day. And if you don't get the result you want, you've then got to wait 2 weeks to see if you can get another result. I do get clients that weigh on the Friday, they're a bit disappointed. Then they jump on the scales on a Saturday and again, because of the fluctuations, they see the result they want. Again, that's natural. But they are clients. So when they check in with me, again, I justify it to them. So if you've got a really unhealthy relationship with the scales and you're really struggling, come work with me and I will work with you to get a much better relationship. As always, I'll put all the links if you want to come into my community or get on plan with me or something like that. I'll put them all at the end of this vlog. So check in for me. Yes, £12 down, really good. Really happy, buzzing. Couldn't have asked for any more. So gained 8.8 pounds over Christmas. That was pretty much gone after the next check-in. Then we're into fat loss mode. I am expecting that to slow down because, like I say, we're not going to be... I haven't been restrictive in January, as it were, in terms of, I've still eaten the foods I love. I eat a bag of crisps every day. I love crisps. It's my one food. It is my one food that I absolutely love. And if I didn't eat a bag of crisps every day... my cravings would take over. They just would. So I it works for me to have little and often. Right? And that's what I've taught myself. If I went a week without crisps, then on a Saturday, I'd be eating flipping 25 bags. I'd just be like, I'd start and I can't stop. But the fact that I just every day take the edge off, and during the week, I'll eat 50, 60 calorie bags of crisps, like, Space Raiders or Tangy Toms or Ringos or something like that. And then at the weekend, I allow myself, 125 calorie bag of crisps. Look, you can eat 500 calories of crisps every single day if you want to, as long as it's within your calories and, you're building it into the majority of your diet's nice and healthy. It's absolutely fine. But for me, just 50, 60, 70 calories worth of crisps, Monday to Friday, just takes the edge off. And then I'll have a bit more of a heartier bag of crisps at the weekend. So, I've eaten a bag of crisps every day. Likewise, I will have a little bit of chocolate here and there. We've had a takeaway every single week. First week of January, we had doner kebab and chips. Second week of January, we had fish and chips. Third week of January, did we have a takeaway last week? Actually, I don't think we had a takeaway, but we got like the Aldi Domino dupe takeaway pizzas. So we had that last week, not last week, or the week before. And then we had the same this weekend that's just gone, which is kind of what this weight loss vlog is all about. So, I've not restricted myself. I also, this weekend just gone, went to Lidl Bakery, which is just the absolute, you've got to have some, especially when you're on a weight loss journey, you've got to have a little bit of self-control going to Lidl Bakery, because I'm like, but we went there, got a couple of brownies, got a couple of the like mini little pizza things. We got a couple of cookies and a bit of bread. That was it. Now, the bread's not a treat. Bread's bread. Bread's actually very good for us, and it's fantastic on a weight loss journey. It's filling. You make a nice sandwich with it. So, I'm not going to get into this weight loss vlog. Everyone, trying to avoid bread to lose weight. The only thing I'll say about bread is weight issue in the UK. Weight issues have been a major issue for about 40 years. We've been eating bread in the format that we eat it now, in loaves. Right, we're making butties and having slices of bread to mop up your stew and stuff like that, hundreds of years, right? So we can't blame bread. But anyway, yeah, brownie, cookies. Do we have anything else? I don't think we did. I think was it. Brownies and cookies. Yeah, that was it, as what we would class as an unhealthy sweet treat. So yeah, so I've not over restricted myself with food whatsoever, but you know, I've been last 3 weeks I've been under my ideal deficit, which is 19 to 50, and I've been under 19,000 calories for the last 3 weeks. So I can see that changing a little bit in February, but nothing major, especially if I don't drink alcohol. So I was going to talk about alcohol. Alcohol for me is it's the one thing I struggle with when I'm losing weight if I'm going to drink it on a regular basis. And that's what I did in 2023. And I don't mean I went and got drunk every weekend, but even if I just have, I've tried to convince myself that this isn't the case, but it is the case. You know, even if I have 2 or 3 pints, I struggle to control my eating afterwards. So, you know, we got into a little habit, and it's actually something we really enjoy. And we're not going to cut this out because I'm just going to go and have an alcohol-free beer or something like that. But we got into a habit like Fridays. We take the dogs for a nice walk. Both our pubs in our village are dog friendly, and we were just nipping into our local pub, having a couple of pints. But the knock-on effect of that is, for me, when I get home, you know, I struggle to control my eating. And now if I get drunk, I really struggle to control my eating. So that's kind of why I've sort of knocked alcohol on the head. I'm not saying I'm going to knock it on the head permanently, not at all. But certainly for January, February, I think I am. Got a day out with the boys on the 16th of March. We sort of do 2 or 3 a year. So that's the first one of 2024. So I will be having a drink then. And every now and then, I don't mind getting drunk, and I don't mind, you know, please drink, you know, responsibly and all that. But I don't mind going out, having a good few beers, and having a hangover day, and it not affecting my eating. I don't mind that even once a month, if I'm being honest with you. But what I need to cut down is, like I say, the 2, 3, 4 pints here and there. I'm not drinking enough to be drunk, a little bit tipsy maybe. But then, like I say, that's when the crisps come out, the chocolate ones come out, and I crave. So, and throughout my weight loss journey, when I first started my weight loss journey, I used to go to the pub every Friday night and I'd have 4 pints because, you know, it's always been my philosophy on this journey not to over restrict myself, not to change anything dramatically that's going to affect my overall life. And when I started my weight loss journey, my life revolved around the pub. I went there all the time, 5 days a week, whether it was to play for my, you know, local pool team, darts team, or just going out on a Friday, Saturday night. And, you know, and I've done that really from being 18 years of age. It's always been a bit of a, you know, I live in a village. It's always been very centered around the pub. When I started my weight loss journey, I started going once a week on a Friday night and having 4 pints. And, you know, did those 4 pints then affect my eating? No, not really. But I used to go and have 4 pints, 1 bag of pork scratchings. And I did that pretty much every Friday night until I met Rachel, which was about a year after I started my weight loss journey. And I don't think it affected my eating because I used to go like 8:30 till 10:30 or 8 o'clock till 10, something like that. I'd have my 3 pints. My 4th pint, I'd have a pint and my bag of pork scratchings. Then I'd go home and I'd go to bed and go to sleep. And I was sorted the next day. And I used to get up the next day and I used to go to the gym. And that kind of, not at the start of my journey, but certainly within 3 months, 4 months in, I was going to the gym on a Saturday morning. And the gym has a knock-on effect. I always say it doesn't have a massive direct effect on weight loss, but it has a lot of indirect effects. And for me, if I train in the gym on a day, it stops me wanting to eat loads of junk that day. I'm just kind of like, you know, you've gone to the gym, you've put your bit in, now fuel your body correctly, get your protein in, get your veggies in. So, yeah, I sort of went to the gym, and then my eating was always under control, and I never used to have a treat on a Saturday. Saturdays were a day off, weren't a treat day. Friday was because I went to the pub and had a few pints. Sunday was because I had a Chinese takeaway. So that's kind of how I managed it at the start of my journey. But now, yeah, when I look at, you know, the weekends that I struggled, the weekends last year where I blew my calories a little bit, there was always alcohol involved. So I just need to chill it out. Like I say, I'm not saying I'm quitting it by any means whatsoever. I love going out and having a beer, but, you know, for me at the moment, not drinking January, not drinking February. And like I say, I'll still go to the pub. I went to the pub last week or the week before to watch the footy on a Sunday afternoon, and I had 3 bottles of Heineken Zero and a Diet Coke and a bag of crisps, and I was happy as Larry. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. So there we go. Right, let's talk about foods for last week. Sorry, I'm such a foodie. I can't even deny it. Honestly, I am. I'm so passionate about food, and I don't need to deny it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, I absolutely love it. If we're going out for a meal on a Saturday night, I'm looking at the menu on a Tuesday, deciding what I'm having. I absolutely love food, and that's not a food addiction thing from being so overweight. I just love food. I absolutely love it. I get a buzz out of it. I get a buzz out of it whether it's, you know, what I've had for my lunch. I get a buzz out of it, you know, and I always eat things I enjoy. That's something I've always done from the start of my weight loss journey. I'm not that, you know, maybe I'm lucky, you know, I'm all right at cooking. I've got a bit of imagination when it comes to cooking. I'm quite happy trying new things and putting things together. And I've never eaten bland and boring food to lose weight, never ever, and I'm not gonna start now. Last week, so I'm having a little look through. I'm just on my NutriCheck, by the way, on the computer, so I'm just having a little look through, and I like to, you know, tell you guys, you know, stuff that I've been enjoying eating. One thing I've absolutely loved is last week was my chicken, rice, and broccoli. Now, you don't need to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. It's more what we call a bro food. So you go to the gym and you're lifting weights and, you know, bodybuilders, they just eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. Why do they eat chicken, rice, and broccoli? Chicken, lean protein. So if you're going to the gym, you're lifting weights, you're trying to build muscle, you need lean protein. You also need fast digesting carbs for energy, and carbs are anabolic, so very good for building muscle. Fast digesting carbs are, and rice is very good for that. And broccoli is it's just a very good vegetable. It's low in calories. It's got some, for veg, it's not got a bad amount of protein in it. It's got loads of vitamins, minerals, nutrients in it. So your grilled chicken, your plain white rice, and your broccoli is like your perfect fuel if you are going to the gym, training. You couldn't get anything better, really. What's the issue with it? It's boring as hell. It's absolutely, I don't want to eat like that. I'm not a bodybuilder. I like going to the gym. I like lifting weights. I'm not a bodybuilder. And you know, a lot of people follow like fitness influencers or bodybuilders for advice about weight loss online. What you need to understand about a bodybuilder is their goal is building muscle and getting a big physique, right? And they might love food. They might be passionate about food, but their main goal, their hobby, is more important to them than anything that they put in their mouth. So they just see food as fuel. They don't see chicken, rice, and broccoli. They see lean protein, anabolic fast digesting carbs, some goodness, right? Vitamins, minerals, nutrients, bit of protein, bit of iron. That's all they see, right? And they'll just guzzle it down. And they train themselves not to have enjoyment from. I don't want to train myself not to have enjoyment from food. I love eating food. Anyway, so I ate a lot of chicken, rice, and broccoli for my dinner last week, covered in Chinese curry sauce. Come on! How do you make the most boring, blandest food in the world taste amazing? Chinese curry sauce. The one I'm using at the moment is Goldfish. Right? I've always used Mayflower. I don't know if you've ever used Mayflower. They sell it in like B&M's and Home Bargains. And Mayflower is lovely, but it can be quite powdery unless you cook it out for 5 to 10 minutes. I don't have time to do that at dinner time. I want to make my food in under 10 minutes, right? And that's my chicken, my rice. So I always use half a packet of steamed long grain rice from Aldi. It's microwavable, bang, and it's lovely. Bit of tender stem broccoli, half a packet of tender stem broccoli, 200 grams of chicken. Now, what I do with the chicken is I get the chicken seasoning from Aldi. It's where, you know, where the paprika is and the garlic granules and all that. Find the tub of chicken seasoning. Like, it's in a little glass pot, right? So I take my chicken, little dusting of that chicken seasoning, make sure it's all coated, air fryer, 8 to 10 minutes, make sure it's all cooked through. No pink chicken, please. And then this Goldfish. And Goldfish is a curry sauce. It's kind of like a stock. It's like a massive stock pot, stock cube. Right, and then I just take 125 grams of it in a mug, break it all up, add 100 mils of water, so 25 grams of stock, 100 mils of water, mix it all up till it's fully dissolved, then nuke it in the microwave for a minute on high, and it'll go reasonably thick. Right, I quite like it semi-runny, so it coats a lot. I don't want it quite as thick as what you get from a Chinese takeaway, so that's just the way I like it. And honestly, you drizzle that over your chicken, rice, and broccoli, it's basically Chinese chicken curry. But 25 grams of the goldfish curry stock paste thing is 90 calories. That's it. So that whole dish is 550 calories. Half a pack of white rice, 200 grams of chicken, load of broccoli. So yeah, I ate that a lot. I'm a very repetitive eater. And I don't mind being a repetitive eater. Why? Because I eat stuff I love eating. If you find stuff that you love to eat, and why is being a repetitive eater good? Because it's so easy to track. I had that chicken again today. Chicken, rice, broccoli, and I bought enough for Monday to Thursday, and I'll have it every day. I've actually bought off Amazon. So I've got the goldfish Chinese curry sauce. I bought a hot and spicy one and a katsu curry sauce as well. So same thing. So I bought 3 different. Should be here today, so hopefully. So I'm literally having chicken, rice, and broccoli Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I'll just put a different. I've had Chinese curry sauce today. I'll have katsu tomorrow, the hot and spicy one on Wednesday, and then probably Chinese again on Thursday. So I'm mixing my sauces up to make it a little bit different. Same with my breakfast. Got a bit of an addiction to the Aldi banana protein pancakes, literally 2 pancakes. Someone told me to put them in the toaster, then microwave them to heat them up, and I did that today, and they were very good. To be honest with you, they weren't massively different. Maybe I should have toasted them for a bit longer, but it's a bit easier to just whack them in the toaster. So I literally do 2 protein pancakes, 100 grams of zero-fat Greek yogurt with a protein powder of my choice. I had white chocolate today, so that split onto 2 pancakes. I had blueberries, strawberries, banana, drizzle of honey over the top. It's absolutely sensational. So I'm literally, eating pancakes for my breakfast. I'm eating Chinese chicken curry and rice for my lunch. And I did that most days. The only other thing that I had was my ramen bowl, which I make. Let me show you. I always forget this is just on YouTube. When I'm doing podcasts, I have to think about visualization because sometimes people are just listening to it on Spotify or Amazon Music, as well as it being on my YouTube channel. So if I talk about things, I have to make sure rather than showing visuals. Anyway, this is just on YouTube so you can see what I'm talking about. So these kimchi bowls are amazing. I get them from Costco. You can get off Amazon, but they're not that cheap off Amazon. They're about 16 quid for 12. You might be like, well, that's all right. I get from Costco. They're literally £9 for 12 in Costco. And they're just ace. Literally, rip open the pot. There's 2 sachets in there, one with some veggies in, one with the spice seasoning in there. Empty that in, fill it with boiling water up to the fill line, leave it for 3 minutes, and then I just add pre-cooked, like from Aldi, chicken breast that I dice up, chicken, I cook some broccoli, and then I add some sweet corn to it as well. And it makes like a little ramen bowl. It's ready in a few minutes, less than 5 minutes it's ready. Absolutely delicious. So I had this one day last week. And then my chicken, rice and thingy. These are amazing. Now, the only downside, and I say a downside, right? The only thing that you need to watch, these are 5 grams of salt. So the recommended intake of salt for an adult a day is 6 grams. Now, that is an average. So if you are a bit bigger than the average adult, right, you can have more salt. The big thing about salt intake is this stuff, water. If you drink plenty of water, 2, 3, maybe even 4 litres of water a day, a lot of salt that you consume, you will flush out. So you actually need to replace it. Salt is electrolytes for the body. It holds water in the body, and we need water in the body. I've talked about how water retention can affect the scales. You need water in the body. What water retention is over retaining of water, right? So all I would say is, if you're going to have one of these for your lunch, make sure you're drinking plenty of water, right? Because if you do have too much salt in your diet, it can lead to some health issues. You don't really need to worry too much about it. Again, a lot of people on the internet talk about raising blood sugars from eating carbs, and that raises insulin. It causes, if you're healthy, and what I mean by healthy is, if you don't have any medical conditions where high blood sugars is an issue, diabetes, you don't need to worry about it. It's just a natural process in the body. Likewise, if you don't have any health issues around salt, you can consume quite a lot of salt. And remember, consumption of things is always an average. Never look at an individual day. You know, certain day, again, saturated fat, recommended intake saturated fat. Too much saturated fat in your diet over a long period of time can lead to heart disease, right? Because you have high LDL cholesterol, that can create plaques in your arteries. Next thing, your arteries get blocked up, and that's going to cause a heart attack or heart disease, right? But, you know, you might have a day where you consume, and the recommended intake for saturated fat for an adult, again, that's healthy is about 30 grams a day. You might have a day where you consume 50 grams one day because you've had a treat. But if you have another 4 days that week where you consume 15 grams, it's absolutely fine. It'll all balance itself out. So again, likewise, you might have one of these that is high in salt, but if your salt intake for the rest of the day is reasonably low, or like say you're drinking loads of water, or your salt intake, you know, you might have one of these every other day, and the day you're not having these, your salt intake's pretty low. I love salt. I'm an absolute fiend for it. But again, I've got no medical conditions where high salt in my diet is a massive issue, and I drink a lot of water. Anyway, those kimchi bowls. I had one of them last week. Love them. Absolutely love them. When I first discovered them, I had them all the time. Too much of a good thing becomes a bad thing. And that's what I have to be careful with my repetitive eating, because sometimes you get, you know, I love something, I can eat for weeks at a time, right? Got really into protein porridge before Christmas. I had it for literally 2 months, every day for 2 months in a row. And you get to a point where I probably had a little bit of enough in. I still have it, but, you know, it doesn't light my world up like it used to anymore. What other eating? So I did 5 days below my daily average last week. So I banked a lot of calories going into the weekend. Over the weekend, it is always more unhealthy for me, and it's always a bit more calorific. So I had 4,134 calories on Saturday. And that was, I had my protein pancakes in the morning. For my lunch, do you know what? For my lunch, I got 2 homemade chicken burgers from my local butchers, and I just had them in a bun. Just them in a bun, that was it. But then I had a cronut from Al. That was what I else got from Lidl. Got 2 cookies, 2 brownies. Not all for me. Me and Rachel split them. And a cronut. Never had a cronut before. It was absolutely delicious. And a cronut in Aldi was, I don't even know what a cronut is. It's a cross between a croissant and a donut. 300 calories, so 150 calories each, because we whacked it in half. We only got one of those. For tea, I had, the Carlos takeaway pepperoni pizza, 1,700 calories for the whole pizza. I only had 3/4 of it, but I did eat the rest of it on Sunday. Absolutely delicious. And then we're still eating up chockies from Christmas. We've still got a tub over there. 1 tub left, but it's got a mix of everything in there. It's got a few celebrations, Quality Street, roses. And do you know what? I love them. I love them for portion control. I have 5 chocolates, 250 calories, 5 chocolates. I had that Friday night. Not Friday night. I had that Saturday and Sunday night. So, yeah, calories really good last week in total. So my ideal deficit to lose, this is 1.5 pounds. Like I say, I have a bigger deficit. My ideal deficit to lose 1.5 pounds of body fat is 19,250 over a week, or 2,750 a day on average. And last week, let me go into my week view on NutriCheck. That's it. I need my app view. It always looks a bit weird. I did 18,878. So really good. Really, really good. And this is why I'm, I don't really need to get on the scales. I know what I'm doing is right. I'm in control. I know how many calories I burn. I know how many calories I'm eating. This is 1 pound of body fat, right? This is a perfect representation of what a pound of body fat looks like. Yeah. So if you went and had the old lipo or liposuction, and you had 1 pound of body fat removed, if they mushed it all together, it would look like this. Now, body fat is, and again, this is perfect representation. It's very spongy. It's got a lot of air in it, which is why, people always say what weighs more. Or people always say muscle weighs more than body fat. I haven't got a representation of 1 pound of muscle, but I use my little Bluetooth speaker here. So this would be 1 pound of muscle. This would be 1 pound of fat. Everything in the world weighs the same. Right? And what I mean by that is, it's all down to, a pound of body fat and a pound of muscle weighs 1 pound. It's all down to volume and density. So a pound of muscle is a lot more tightly packed than a pound of body fat. And this would kind of be a representation. So this is where people, and this isn't common, right? So if you're going to the gym now and you're not losing any weight, and people are saying, oh, it's because you're turning your fat into muscle. You're not. You can't turn fat into muscle. That's impossible, right? That don't work like that. Now, could you lose a certain amount of body fat and gain a certain amount of muscle mass, and that would counterbalance? So yeah, so if I lost 10 pounds of body fat and I gained 10 pounds of muscle, right, I'm going to look a lot smaller because the 10 pound of muscle takes up a lot less room than the 10 pound of body fat, right? But again, that doesn't happen because it's not an equal thing. Anyone can comfortably lose 4 to 5 pounds of body fat a month. Right? If you've got a reasonable level of movement, healthy calorie allowance, yeah, 4 to 5 pound of body fat a month. Depending on whether you're male or female, but a male will struggle to gain a pound, pound and a half of muscle a month. A female will struggle to gain half a pound to a pound. Now, there's different parameters, is that the right word? Or exceptions to that. So if you've just started lifting weights, you'll gain muscle faster than if your body's more experienced to resistance training. Likewise, it's down to how much protein you consume and stuff like that. But let's just say someone is 6 months into their journey, someone in 6 months into their journey could comfortably lose 4 to 5 pounds of body fat, but would struggle to gain a pound of that. So if you're going to the gym and lifting weights and building muscle on a weight loss journey, you're still going to see losses on the scale. Gain 1 of them, lose 5 of them, you're going to see a loss of 4 pounds. All right. Why did I start talking about this? I have no idea. But anyway, so this is a pound a week. So a pound of body fat has 3,500 calories in it. A pound of muscle has 600 calories in it, right? A lot of energy in that, not much energy in muscle, right? So 3,500 calories in this. So every 3,500 calories under what I burn, I'm going to lose 1 of these. So if you did a 3,500 calorie deficit a week, you'll lose 1 of these. If you do 7,000 calorie deficit a week, 2 of these. 10,500 calorie deficit a week, you'll lose 3 of these. And it looks big, doesn't it? It is big. What you need to understand about body fat is it just doesn't come off in chunks like that. Like a little bit comes out your neck, a little bit comes off your face, a little bit comes off your arms, a bit will come off your belly, a bit will come off your legs, a bit will come off your calves, a bit will come off your bum, your back. So it comes off from all over, right? So you don't just lose, to take out a pound of fat. But anyway, so I just said there, if you're in a 10,500 calorie deficit a week, why and you lose 3 pounds, but why wouldn't I do that every week? It's too restrictive. I burn 24,000 calories a week, which means for me to lose 3 pounds of body fat in a week, I would only be able to eat 13,500 calories a week. Now divide that by 7, that's like 1,900 calories a day. Now you might be sat there going, whoa, 1,900 calories is loads, Neil. It's not for a guy my size that moves the way I move. It really isn't. It's low. That is really restrictive. So for me to, I burn 250 to 3,500 calories a day. So for me to nearly only eat half of my is just unhealthy, right? It's below my metabolism. It's just not good. I'm not going to get enough fuel into my body because although body fat has energy, it doesn't have vitamins, it doesn't have minerals, it doesn't have nutrients. It's just energy. So, you're not going to get what you need or what your body needs from having massively restrictive diets. Not going to work long term. Anyway, there we go. What else do I need to cover? Oh, my movement. There are some essentials to weight loss. There's 2 essentials to me. Being more responsible with your calories. So I've talked about that. And how much you move. Because, the more you move, the more calories you burn, which means, if you burn 20,000 calories a week, you can eat 16,500 calories and lose a pound of body fat, right? If you only burn 14,000 calories a week, right, you'd only be able to eat 10,500 calories a week to lose a pound of body fat. And the more calories you can consume, the deficit should always be the same, right? Unless, you know, like I say, for me, I burn a lot of calories. So if we get to a point where we're burning 3, 4, 5,000 calories, yes, we can have a bigger deficit. I lost 10 stone in my first year, right? So my deficit was was about 10,000, well, between 7 and 10,000 a week on average for the first 12 months of my weight loss journey. I was 37 stone. If I just got out of a chair, I was burning 50 calories, let alone if I walked down the street, I burned 100 calories. Yeah. So the bigger we are, the more calories we burn. But, you know, it's, yeah, movement is key. Movement is key. And it's something I've done from the start of my journey. At the start of my journey, I was nearly bedbound. And I could only move for 5-10 minutes at a time, really. 5 minutes probably, without needing a bit of a rest. But I still worked on doing it. Right? I still worked on increasing my movement. The more consistent I was with increasing my movement, the easier it was on a day-to-day basis. So, and that stuck with me now. So again, I do 10 to 11,000 steps a day on average. Some days I'll do 8,000, other days I'll do 14,000. It's always averages. If you look at averages, it makes everything seem much more manageable. So yeah, so last week I averaged, I don't actually know. Well, I did. I checked yesterday afternoon. I was averaging 10,700. So any extra steps I did after that. So I probably averaged 11,000 steps last week. I went to the gym 5 times. I love going to the gym. More for my mental health and my physical health than actually burning calories. But as I've already touched on in this weight loss vlog, you know, I do burn quite a few calories in the gym. And I went to the gym 5 times. So movement was really, really good. And again, I always say this, consistency is key. And that is something that has been, you know, why have I been able to lose 12 pounds? Again, I'd say half of that's water retention, half of that's body fat in January. Because I've been consistent. I've tracked my calories every day. I've stuck to my calorie allowance. I've got my movement in. I've got my exercise in. And that's it. Tick the boxes, you will get the results. There you go. So that's my weekly weight loss vlog for the 22nd of January to the 28th of January. Again, I know I waffle on about all different things, but I will do, you know, but I like it. I like talking to you guys. I like analysing and breaking my week down myself and having a look at it. So again, I hope you can take a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of motivation. You know, you might, oh, I'll try that food or I'll try that. Any questions, please, guys, get it in the comments. Anything you want to ask me, ask away, get it in the comments. If you want to come and join my community, you know, we've got 400 people now in the community. It's such an amazing space for weight loss if you're on a weight loss journey. Everyone in there follows my philosophies when it comes to weight loss. Everyone's so supportive. I'm not just saying that. It's £5 for your first month. Use code WELCOME at checkout. I'll put all the links in the description. Come and say hello, right? Honestly, you don't need to be alone. It's £5 for your first month. If you don't, there's no contract. You cancel anytime. So if you jump in and you're like, it's not for me, jump out again. It's absolutely fine. I won't hold it against you, honestly. But, you know, most people that come in, they love the support in there. They love vibing off different people. And, you know, everyone's posting the teas. Everyone's, you know, talking about what they're going on about. I suppose a bit like what I'm doing here. And again, you'll take a lot of inspiration from it. I'll also give you a full calorie allowance when you come in, so you can see that. So you know exactly how many calories you should be eating. You know, you might have never done calorie count before. You might not know where to start. I also give you a little basic guide to bossing your weight loss. I'm currently in the process of writing a guide to NutriCheck, so you'll get that as well when that's all written. Yeah, so come and say hello. If you feel you need more support than that, you can then come on a one-to-one plan. You know, a lot of people who jump into the community, and if they feel they just need an extra push or an extra bit of accountability, you can come and work direct with me. Again, I'll put the links in the description. But please ask any questions, like, follow, all that jazz. That'd be amazing. And until next week, yeah, make sure you boss your weight loss.